Pretty excited. Today I'm going to do an install and a quick review on a product that I just received in the mail. It's from Deadpoint. It's actually a flashlight, weapon light for my Glock 43. It actually replaces the guide rod. So first thing first, I'll do a box opening here. I received this, I believe it was yesterday, either last night or yesterday morning, I think. So first off, I did get a Deadpoint sticker, so that'll be going up on the safe. Looks like I got a couple pieces here, a couple bags. I see small pieces, so you definitely want to be careful. And springs. This is actually the flashlight assembly here. I believe it's LED. Yeah, there's an LED in there. 2 springs. Looks like maybe a cap on the end here. I did look through the directions already, so I kind of got an idea what I'm doing. I didn't want to take any chances losing anything, but comes with a 3-pack of batteries. They're like heat shrink together, and then there's actually your teardown assembly, and this piece I believe is what goes in where the guide rod. It's like a sleeve for the guide rod. So first things first, safety first. Always make sure your weapon, make sure it's clear. I don't want to take any chances on that. Put it away. Drop that out. Alright, so just a general breakdown, nothing fancy on that. I'm going to pull the old guide rod off. Now I did read in the directions that this little adapter piece here, if I can get it out the bag, goes in to the end here, and I'm actually going to turn the camera down a little bit here so you guys can see a little better what I got going on the table. So this little adapter piece here actually drops in to where the guide rod goes, just kind of a spacer basically. I can get it to fall in place. There we go. So it just basically just drops down in there, and then with this actually is the cap on the back where the battery goes. You just kind of pull it apart and it just pops out. There is a little O-ring in there, keep the water out kind of thing. Alright, get the batteries out. It did say flush side up, which is positive, so drop that in, and if I put it on right, gotta push, and it doesn't screw in. I think it just uses pressure basically to hold it in, but it just sets back in there. Once that's assembled, put the spring in, push forward, and it did say to make sure that the button, the little brass button there, is towards the barrel, so it's actually got to go down if you're looking at it, if you're installing it this direction. So I got to make sure I do this right here. Push it forward. Anytime you're messing with springs, you want to be careful. Kind of don't let things go shooting across the room, because that will not be fun. Alright, as you can see there, see that little brass, turn it the wrong way, little brass button there is actually the actuator. That's the on-off switch. It will not turn on until it's fully assembled. So if it doesn't turn on while you're messing with it, don't freak out. Put it the rest of the way together. Hopefully it works. Alright, now this is the part where things can get a little hairy. I don't know if anybody's ever changed the breakdown on a Glock, the actual teardown assembly. I don't know what they call this thing, I'll be honest. I don't know. But I know how it goes in and out. Basically there's just a spring down under there that pushes pressure up, and it just sets in there. The key here is you have to pull it down like this to get it to move left or right to come out. You will then be compressing the spring. When you go to pull that thing out, that spring will have tension, and if you're not careful, will go shooting across the room. So my suggestion is to push down and get it started, and I actually can work my finger down in there, get my nail behind it gently, while you can see I'm working it out slowly, keeping my finger in the hole. That way when the spring tension comes loose, you'll hear a little click, you'll feel it touch your finger, and spring's still in there. No worries. Install. when you go to put this thing back in, there's a groove on the new one. It needs to be towards the trigger, towards the rear of the weapon. So for this, if you're going to replace one, a lot of times it's easier if you stick something in there. What I like to do is just put pressure on it, and then I actually can use this old one. Just push down on it, and you can work it underneath. Slide it right back in. She pops right into place. Bingo, bango, you got it in there. Now, as you can see, this one's a little longer than your standard one. That's actually how you turn this thing on and off. That was one of my big questions when I bought this, is how does this thing actually turn on and off? Because I was like, it's got to have a button or something to actuate it. That's actually what does it. There's a little spot on the front here. I don't know if I can zoom in close enough you can see it, but there's a spot on the front of that thing that actually actuates it. So, reassembly. Just like regular. Oops. Get it back in, charge it, and then bam. So there's on, and the center is actually off. So there's on, pushing it from the right side. Center's off. I can get it to be off. And then push it on the opposite side, and bam, it's back on. So on, off, on, off. I will say that one thing I'm curious about is how sensitive this is in general when you're actuating it. It does have quite a bit of tension. I mean, you gotta push on it to get it to go in there. It's not like a huge amount, but you have to actually press it. But if you have an inside the waistband holster like I carry, the only thing I worry about is getting it turned on in my pocket, or in my holster, and killing the battery and not even knowing that it's on. But that's not a huge issue. I mean, it's 3 tiny batteries and they're not that hard to replace. It takes 2 minutes to tear it apart. But as you can see, it's pretty bright. It's single LED. I'm gonna hit the light real quick just so you guys can get an idea. Shining on the table. It's about, I don't know, 1.5 feet off the table. They're shining behind me on the wall, hitting the door. That's probably 5 feet away. For regular EDC, I think that's plenty. So I'm kind of excited to get this thing out on the range and actually put some rounds through it and see how she functions, if it causes any issues. I haven't shot it yet, so I don't know if the springs are correct. I'll be honest, I don't know yet. So hopefully there's no issues, but install 5 minutes tops. Doesn't take a genius by any means. Yeah. So Deadpoint, go check them out. Seems like a pretty good product so far. So I'll keep you guys updated. Have a good one.